How many times have you been on a long crossing just wanting to be there already? Mentally rushing through every paddle stroke and barely noticing the water around you or that section of the journey you're on. There's this constant pressure to override what's actually true for us, on and off the water, and I find it exhausting. When that rush shows up in our paddling trips, the thing you turn to for relief and rejuvenation, paddling, is becoming another place where you're not fast enough, good enough, progressing quickly enough, not where you want to be. In its most extreme, we keep pushing ourselves past what our body is saying it needs, ignoring the signals for rest, for a slower pace. From my time as a paddler and on the water, I've come to learn that the pace that I'm going is exactly right, and that slow isn't the problem. Let me show you what the ocean taught me about this. There's a real clear and present example of this as I was getting ready for a recent paddle trip. It was a super cold day, I had a lot of stuff to pack. I was filming an episode, so there was a lot of equipment that I had to take. And everything just felt like it took so long. Getting the gear out of the car, getting the gear in the boat down to the water, getting the boat loaded, getting dressed, walking back, and everything just felt slow. And I was beating myself up a little bit for it. I felt like I gotta move faster. If I'm going to complete this paddle trip before the sun goes down and record an episode, I've gotta move faster. There was that should go faster voice in my head. Now, through experiences like that and through my life, I've learned to look at how do I move at the fastest part of me. And that day, I wasn't moving very fast. And I paused and I gave myself permission to enjoy the experience, to come what may, whatever would happen, why was I gonna rush something that I enjoyed doing? And the moment I slowed down and the moment I started to enjoy the process, and I love getting my gear out, I love getting everything packed and moving, getting all the bits and pieces around and planning the trip there from the water of what are the kids. I love all that. I love taking it in, and I don't need to rush that. So I'm always cautious of that word should. And there's a phrase that I love of I try not to should all over myself. And that's what I was doing that day. But giving myself that moment of permission allowed me to interrupt that pattern, slow things down, and really just enjoy what was going on out there. This pattern of rushing shows up in a lot of places for me, on the water and off the water. And as I talked about in the introduction, one of the biggest places are on long crossings where you've got 3 or 4 hours in the boat. There's no hope of getting out anywhere. You're in the middle of the water and you've got to make this crossing. You've got the destination in mind. And in that time, I can hit spots of feeling like I'm not getting anywhere. I wish I moved faster. I wish I had a faster boat. I wish I was there already. Any number of things, but always mentally arriving and trying to be there, trying to be somewhere else instead of being with each stroke, instead of focusing on my forward stroke or really taking in the nature around me or the experience I'm having. I think there's an important distinction here between going slow and not rushing. Sometimes we do need to move quickly, but we don't need to rush through things. We don't need to mentally want them to be different. That's what I mean by going slow. Going at your pace, whether that's fast or slow, but really being present for what's there. Now, the ocean teaches this to me all the time. The ocean's such a teacher. Nature is such a teacher. I learned so many things out there. And the tide demonstrates this natural rhythm. If you need to be somewhere at high tide and it's low tide, you're gonna wait 6 hours. That's just gonna have to happen. Also, the seasonal changes on the water, I think, show me this rhythm of not rushing and timing. Winter takes the time it takes. Spring has its time. Summer, fall, they all take the space that they need and they don't rush into the next thing. There are important things that have to happen in each of those seasons in nature that we need, the ocean needs, nature needs. It's not rushing through any of those. When I can catch this rushing in my life and on the water, and when I can slow down, I can settle back into why I'm there. I can smell that salt brine air. We call it the perfume up here when we smell it. I can smell the perfume of the ocean. I can hear the call of that long-tailed duck off in the distance. I can notice the light reflecting off a gorgeous headland. I'm not just in my mind pushing through something. I'm not just beating myself up for not being there. I'm able to take it in. More practically, as a paddler, we can notice the swell on that day. If we're somewhere where we've got to watch the sets and there's some really big sets and we've got a tricky beach landing, we understand the rough timing of those sets and the rough size. Or maybe it's no big deal at all, but we've paid attention to it. Maybe you can notice a change in the weather pattern, that something might be coming in that you don't want to be out there in. You might start to notice what others in your group are experiencing. Maybe one of your paddling friends is really slowing down. And by noticing that, you can alter your plan or you can make sure everybody stays safe. A big one for me is noticing when my paddle form starts to really suck. When I'm tired at the end of a long day, I start to slouch, I start to use my arms more. But when I'm able to stay present and be at my pace and be right where I am, I'm able to find those moments where I could tighten up my form a little bit. I still feel this resistance all the time. It happened to me a week and a half ago, and it'll probably happen to me sometime next week. That push, that rush, that gotta get done, that not honoring the pace that I want to move. I think it comes back because it's so ingrained in us. It's so natural for our minds to think this way and to go into this default mode. But that day on the water a week and a half ago, when I gave myself permission to move at my actual pace, something shifted and I moved from feeling like I wasn't enough to feeling like I had a great day on the water. So notice your resistance to that push, to the should voice in your head. What that means outside of paddling for me is that I deeply need to pay attention and find out where I'm rushing and why. You can stop feeling exhausted and rushed too. The ocean can teach us this through the tides that won't be rushed, the crossings that we can honor each stroke, and the rhythms that can't be forced in our life. Just remember, the ocean doesn't rush, and neither do you have to. If this resonated with you and you want to keep exploring what it means to paddle with confidence and understanding, I've got more episodes around the sea mindset, this deeper, more meaningful side of paddling. Go check those out. I think you'll find them really useful. All right, friends. Well, as always, I hope you enjoy your adventures, whatever they are. And until next time, safe paddling. Bye for now.